Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
All right, mic is on, Alicia's on. I have questions. You have to listen to me. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alisha, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. First question. First question this week comes from Iman. Again, hi Iman, you send lots of questions, thanks. Which one is correct? I want rest or I want to take rest? Well, you can say I want rest to mean in general, just you would like to do nothing, to relax. Grammatically though, I want to take a rest is correct, or I want to rest. Both of those are correct. However, in American English, we don't usually say I want to take a rest. It's more common to say I want to take a break. I want to take a break, or let's take a break, or can we take a break? Something like that is more common. You can say I want to take a rest, but again, in American English, rest is less common. Next question. From Gabriella. Hi, Gabriella. Hi, Alicia. What is the difference between used to and used to in fast speech? The difference in pronunciation. Yeah. Basically, when we're speaking quickly, or I suppose even not quickly, we tend to pronounce used to as used to. The grammar doesn't change. It's just the pronunciation changes because it's difficult to say used to very quickly. I used to is very difficult to say, so we just say used to instead. I used to use a smartphone. He used to play soccer. We used to cook every day. In each of these sentences, I contracted used to used to. I think actually in most cases we probably do say used to instead of used to because it's quite difficult to say. Again, this shouldn't really cause any communication problems. Used to and used to have the same meaning, just different pronunciation. Next question from Suinte, hope I said that right. Suinte says, hi Alicia, which word do you prefer using as an American? America, the United States of America, the US, the USA, or the States. I only started using America to refer to my country when I moved to Japan because the people around me used the word America to refer to the country. But I think before that I said the US. I used the US. People would say, where are you from? The US. Why did I use the US? Because it's short and easy to say, the US. I don't want to say the United States of America. It sounds long to me. Thanks for the question. Next question comes from Gerson Silva. Hi Gerson. Hi again Gerson. Gerson asks, what does the American idiom plead the fifth mean? Plead the fifth. In a sentence like I plead the fifth, it means I choose not to say anything. I choose to have no comment. I don't want to say anything. This idiom comes from the US Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. So amendment is a word that means addition. So like some new information was added to our country's rules, our country's laws, our Constitution. The Fifth Amendment, the fifth addition to the Constitution, gives people in the US the right to remain silent. So in other words, if we are being investigated, maybe police or law officials have questions for us, we have the right not to make a comment because maybe we'll say something that will get us in trouble, even if we don't mean to. Maybe we just say something incorrectly. We don't know. So to plead the fifth, so the Fifth Amendment, we use the word plead also. Plead is a way of saying ask for. I plead the fifth means I ask for the right to remain silent, meaning I'm going to choose not to make any comment. I'm going to choose not to say anything. It's my right. So in most cases when we say I plead the fifth, it's kind of in a casual situation, like there's just maybe something we don't want to comment about, or some people use it as a joke, or maybe there's some secret you need to hide, whatever. But plead the fifth means I choose not to make any comments. So no comment, in other words. Next question. Next question comes from Max. Max asks, which one is correct and why? The car keys, the keys of car, the car's keys. If by correct you mean the most natural, the answer is the car keys, the car keys. Why is this one better than the keys of car? Okay, the keys of car is grammatically incorrect. the keys of the car, or we would say the keys to the car. We match keys to the object that they open, the object that they're kind of attached to, with the preposition to. We could say the keys to the car, the keys to the house, the keys to the safe. Here you have the keys of car. So one, you're missing an article, the keys of the car. Also, to, the preposition used is incorrect. The keys to the car would be correct. We could say that. Where are the keys to the car? That would be okay. But the keys of car is incorrect. The car's keys, while there's probably no communication problem with the car's keys, cars you have in the possessive form. So the keys belonging to the car. But that kind of gives the image that like the car has the ability to possess something, has the ability to own something, and it's a car, it's an object. So it's kind of a little strange to suggest that the car could own something. It sounds a little bit silly. So the car's keys doesn't sound right. It's not something we would use. Instead, we'll say the car keys in most cases. Or we could say the keys to the car. But the keys to the car is longer than the car keys, so the car keys is the one that is most commonly used. Hope that answers your question. Next question from Iman-chan. Iman, is this the same Iman? I don't know. You have lots of questions. Thanks. Is there any difference if we use yet at the beginning or at the end of a sentence? Well, yeah, actually, it depends on the sentence. At the beginning of a sentence or at the beginning of a clause, yet can have the meaning of but or although or however. He left the house for school, yet he hadn't done his homework. We chose the more expensive house, yet we had no money. When we put yet at the end of a sentence, it often means an action that has not been completed, but that we expect is going to be completed or should be completed. I haven't done my homework yet. You haven't eaten lunch yet? When we put yet at the end of that sentence, like I just did, that means something that hasn't happened, but we expect to happen. In the first set of examples, it's referring to like a however, a but sort of meaning. So depending on the positioning of the sentence, depending on the grammar of the sentence, the word yet can have different meanings. So maybe I'll make a whiteboard video about this. Actually, yet is quite an interesting word, but I haven't made a video about it yet. So maybe I will. Thanks for the question. Next question comes from James Kim. Hi, James. James Kim asks, how can I distinguish between in which and at which? Think about the meanings of the prepositions in and at. In which contains in, which is used to refer to conditions of being surrounded, a status of being surrounded. So like in the supermarket, in the office, in the hospital, for example. We use at which to refer to like specific times, to refer to specific locations, and so on. So yes, there are some cases where in and at can be used interchangeably. So let's take a look at some examples. Maybe that will help. The meeting was held in the office, in which there was a pool. This dish features a complex dessert, in which berries are included. So in the first example about the office, I said, the meeting was held in the office in which there was a pool. So that sentence means there was a pool inside the office. I've used in which to show the pool is surrounded by the office. In the second sentence, I used in which to say in which berries are included. So in the dessert. So within the dessert, there are berries. So I've used in to show that. Let's look at some examples using at which now. Let's add this to the agenda for the meeting, at which we'll discuss many different things. The event at which visitors will find free drinks is $50 to enter. So in these cases, I'm referring to a specific location or a specific event. If, for example, you changed the first example sentence, let's add this to the agenda for the meeting in which we'll discuss many different things, that's a situation where we could use either in or at. Both would be correct there because it's a specific location, a specific action, specific event, at, but it's also a meeting. So it's like we're being surrounded by, the meeting condition, the meeting status. So both are correct there. But I hope that helps maybe give some examples of how to use this. So those are all the questions that I want to answer for this week. Thank you again for sending all your great questions. If you have not sent a question or if you'd like to send more, please feel free to send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alisha. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and check us out at englishclass101.com for some other good study resources. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode, and I will see you again next time. Bye!